says it is a mission impossible.
That is how I ended up not remembering that trusting too much was society.
Good morning and welcome to Romy TV Africa. I'm your host Emmanuel. Keep on following us on Twitter, Instagram and on YouTube. Hit that notification bell for more news updates and newspaper review here at Romy TV Africa this 22nd of November 2022.
And I'm your host Reginah. Welcome to the newspaper review.
And on our first story,
the case of poverty that drained man's 700,000 shillings within a week. Now, Tommy Konya, 60, had just disposed of an asset with 700,000 shillings, and in the spirit of celebrating a good deal, he went to a bar in Maragua town. I want my story to be a lesson to others on what to do when you come to cash, he told Nation Africa. He says he was born in Nyeri County but moved to Kajiado County in 2007 with his family. In a nutshell, he says a man who has unbudgeted cash should avoid bars, lodgings, women not related to you, and men who pretend to be nice and to be found in bars.
He explained that he showed up in town on the afternoon of November 10th, but by November 17th, he was homeless, cashless, and stranded. He says his intention was to relax for a day or two and then venture out into the town in search of premises to start a boiled meat business. A plant operator, he says he once worked in a plantation near the town before he was transferred to Kajiado County by the same employer. And I quote, "Not from a poor family. I own some assets here and there, and in my retirement I decided to sell one of them so as to welcome myself into the world of senior citizen and pensioners," Mr. Konya says.
Once in the town, he proceeded to one bar situated along Police Road. For those who know Maragua town well, it is a cardinal rule that if you are not streetwise, you make merry near a police station in case you find yourself staring at machetes in the hands of deranged teen criminals, he said. Being a self-confessed coward, he entered a bar about 100 meters from the police station, which he knew offers also frequented. I'm a popular fella around here, and it was not long before I had a company. Firstly males and then some females. With cash, my generosity goes up, and within an hour my table was a mini party, he narrates. He says he remembers taking about 8 bars and paying a bill of 6,320 shillings.
And I quote what he said. "There was this woman who remained stuck on my side. I had not known her, but she kept reminding me to be careful. That being rich and drunk was risky. She appeared genuinely concerned, and I trusted her," Mr. Konya says. At around 10:45 p.m., the bar attendants announced that they were closing because their license dictated they shut down at 11 p.m. I decided to take a room because the bar also had lodges. They cost 300 shillings per night, but the woman who remained by my side opposed the idea. She told me that her place was spacious and she wouldn't mind hosting me, he says. He adds that thinking while under the influence of alcohol is like mixing oil and water. He says it is a mission impossible.
That is how I ended up not remembering that trusting too much was suicidal, and when the deal is too good, I think twice. All those pieces of wisdom were fairy tales in my intoxicated mind, he says. He says there was a friend that he had bought beer for who attempted to warn him about the woman, but the woman overheard him. She kissed me on the lips, and I forgot the warning. After another kiss, I was following her outside the bar to board a motorcycle, and within 10 minutes, I was in her house watching TV. She lived alone, he says.
He won't reveal much about life inside the house, but it is safe to tell you that I bathed, ate, slept like a king. Not once, not twice, for 6 days. He says God created the universe in 6 days and rested on the 7th. The very little time it took him to use his 700,000 and become poor. Wow. What a story.
It is indeed a sad story, and still a funny one.
From 100,000 to 0. Well, just in a week.
Yeah, close to $1 million.
Yeah, because when you see that you had a lot of money when you're starting the week, but just because of alcohol and being intoxicated into an activity that even is not helping you at all, just making you waste money.
Sure.
And you just find someone here, they're strangers outside there, and you just trust them all of a sudden. It's a very, very weird situation you be in, because we know so many people say that when you go to clubs or bars, you go and drink, then the ladies come and put you, they say them chele inside it. But now this time it's not them chele, it was just a simple talking. And you trust someone by the way they talk, they become just innocent towards you. You trust them and you end up going to their house. I think he could just pay the 300 shillings and stay in the hotel.
Yeah.
Because when you go to that woman's house and all of a sudden you just found that you have no longer money. It's a very funny story.
Yeah, it's an advice to men. You stay away from lodgings and women who are not related to you.
Yeah, this is the second time I've talked about women. Stay away from women.
Yeah, above all, fear women.
After God, fear women, right?
Yeah.
In another story, how hackers used betting sites to access Airtel money in Uganda. Black hats used the website of a gaming platform in Uganda to plunder money from the system of Airtel Mobile Commerce Uganda Limited, making away with about $200 million shillings, while the licensed betting firm's website prides itself on making use of standard encryption to protect the data of its users. Cyber criminals used it as a gateway to Airtel Money digital system.
Now, after tweaking AMCUL software to approve transactions, the hackers drained its central system of just under 8 billion shillings, that is Ugandan shillings, which is close to 2.1 million in a meticulously planned operation. Now, the hack affected a number of banks and microfinance depositing-taking institutions operating in Uganda. The Monitor understands that one of the microfinance deposit-taking institutions filed an official complaint with Cyber and Counter-Electronic Measure Desk at Criminal Investigations Directorate, CID, headquarters in Kibuli, Kampala. Initial investigations indicate that the hackers accessed Airtel Money systems via one of its clients, the betting firm whose name has been withheld. Punters who use the gaming platform to load virtual bet slips stake bets only after crediting their accounts with mobile money on Airtel or MTN.
CID detectives told me, Monitor, that when the black hats assessed AMCULCS systems, they launched what is known in the hacking underworld as a black box attack. Multiple accounts of banks and microfinance institutions bore the brunt of the jackpotting, with the money mills acting on behalf of the black hats receiving mobile money from the hack. Monitor learned that 1,840 registered and pre-registered SIM cards were redired for a big withdrawal. Sources say that the hackers had completed transaction on 1,800 of the SIM cards before the daring raid was stopped in its attack. In a statement, Airtel Uganda said the incident did not impact any Airtel Money or bank balances. It added that our platform is secure and built to world-class specification to give our Airtel Money customers an instant, safe and secure experience. Attempts to talk to the top brass of the betting firm were unsuccessful. The daring raid on AMCUL's digital system took place on October 28th.
Okay, it is indeed a story of cybercrime, and it seems cybercrime is a crime that is not yet to stop.
Yeah.
That is still going on each and every time.
Yeah.
So the hackers, they use it to manipulate people and also steal money from the company itself. Yeah.
You have studied about computer. We know hacking is all about knowing more about computers. In your area of study, in terms of computer studies, maybe during when you're doing that studies. Do you think you are in a position of joining this hacking system?
There is hacking, and then there is there is hacking for money, and then there is hacking for being a criminal. And there are many reasons why people hack.
Yeah.
First is to test your expertise on the area of field that you're studying. Second, it's to gain from it, economically, commercially, like you want to gain from it.
Yeah.
And third, you just want to mess up with the lives of other people. So I think for me, in a position to maybe mess up with the bank and show them how good I am in that, so I would hack.
Can we say that is a way of giving your CV, because once you hack, it's an opportunity to get money,
Of
because
course,
when
because
they
you
get
really know much.
because when they get you, they just have to employ you. They can't arrest you.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, even if when they arrest you, you can go to the jail and still get away to get a phone and still hack them. So yeah.
True. So the next story: suspected jihadists kill 9 soldiers, 2 policemen and civilians in Nigeria army base attack. Now, jihadists have attacked an army base in a town in northeast Nigeria, killing 9 soldiers, 2 policemen and civilians. Security sources and residents said Sunday in the latest violence in the region. Fighters from Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP, riding trucks fitted with machine guns, stormed the town of Malami Fatori in Abadan district late Friday and early Saturday, they said. ISWAP terrorists attacked Malam Fatori and caused huge destruction, which we are working to quantify, a military officer told AFP.
They attacked the military base and engaged troops in a fight while a second group went on a killing spree and arson in the town, said the officer, who asked not to be identified. The first attack near the Niger border came at dusk Friday, leading to a fierce battle with soldiers who repelled the assault, said resident Buji Gawa. In a pre-dawn attack on the base and the town on Saturday, the jihadists hurled explosive and killed residents, while others drowned in a river trying to flee. 2 security sources said on Sunday 9 soldiers and 2 policemen were killed in the base attack.
The number of casualties sustained in the base is 11, including 9 soldiers and 2 policemen working alongside troops, a military officer said. The same toll was confirmed by a second security source. We lost 9 soldiers and 2 policemen from the base. It is still not clear how many people, civilians, were killed inside the town, said the second security source.
It is not clear how many people were killed because we all fled the town and are now gradually returning to assess the damage, Gawa said, adding much of the town had been set ablaze. And I quote again, "We have started combining the bushes and picking up bodies of those killed and searching along the riverbanks to find those washed to their shores," he said. Another resident, Baitu Madari, said she had counted a dozen people killed in her neighborhood. And I quote, "I have no idea of the number of the dead bodies recovered in other parts of town. The destruction is really huge," she said. According to an intelligence officer, the attackers came from nearby Kamuya village. Kamuya is the largest ISWAP camp in Lake Chad area, which is just 8 kilometers, 5 miles from Malam Fatori, the sources said. Well, we see that it's becoming a war season in the Nigerian sector, in the Nigerian country, and we see that soldiers, 9 soldiers have been killed, and this keeps a worrying situation in the nation, whereby you see that you find that nine soldiers have been killed, whereby it's keeping people to be in fear. What about their lives if their soldiers have been killed from these jihadists? And the national government have to do something about it, because when you see that there's improper security in the area, there's a lot to be done. It seems that Nigeria has been having a lot of criminal cases, issues that being attacked by these criminal gangs, and this keeps people's life in danger. What do you think about this situation?
I think it is really a bad situation. You know, being the Islamic community is the one that is leading in this, you know, issues of terrorism. So I think, plus Nigeria is one of the you know, so exotic countries that we are not supposed to be hearing these cases of terrorism because it is so good in terms of security. So I think for the sake of the people, they should just, you know, the government should just make sure they do what is necessary.
Okay. In other stories, probe into leaked Ashad Sharif's gory image kicks off. The Pakistan Institute of Medical Science has set up a committee to investigate who leaked to the media images of a slain journalist Ashad Sharif taken during a post-mortem examination. The images were leaked to a journalist who then broadcast them on television. The journalist later apologized, saying he had to leak the images to push the Pakistan government to speed up investigation and say clearly what happened to Mr. Sharif. The journalist also claimed that the post-mortem had shown that Mr. Sharif was tortured before he was killed.
Now, the senior journalist was brutally tortured for over 3 hours and his nails were pulled from fingers before being martyred. While his fingers and ribs are also broken due to severe torture, the journalist claimed. He sensationally claimed that the killing was a premeditated assassination, saying that the shots were fired from a close range on the back of his head. Following the report, the nation reached out to Dr. Ahmed Kalebi, an independent consultant pathologist based in Nairobi, who analyzed the two post-mortem examination reports to explain the cause of death.
The two post-mortem reports were released by pathologists in Pakistan and Kenya. Dr. Kalebi dismissed claims that Mr. Sharif was tortured before his shooting to death. Mr. Sharif was shot on October 23rd by General Service Unit (GSU) officers on the Magadi Kiserian Road in Kajiado West, Kajiado County. He had just left a club popular with India and Pakistan nationals called Amodam Quenya and was heading to Nairobi in a vehicle driven by Mr. Khurram Ahmed, who was his host in Kenya. The Kenyan government had accepted that the incident was a result of mistaken identity as police officers pursued a vehicle allegedly stolen in Ngara, Nairobi. A shootout issued at a roadblock guarded by the GSU officers, leading to the death of former news anchor. Well, it seems that this story has not yet ended since the time we heard about it, and now there are some government officials that are attacking a journalist who had leaked the late Mr. Ashad Sharif's murder.
Yeah.
Do you think that it was the right thing for the journalist to release the post-mortem results? And also, is it correct for the government to torture this journalist until to say how he got the information about?
First, I don't understand why he was tortured. If you were coming with an intention of killing this person, then I don't see the need of you torturing him. So I think this is something that maybe they had reasons for that. But again, if you really wanted to kill this person, you couldn't have tortured him because the nails were removed, the ribs were not there. So it's a sad story.
It said that he was being tortured to say how he got the evidence, the story behind the post-mortem. So he was tortured to say where the information was coming from. Yeah, that's why he was being tortured.
So the question is, did he really say that? Did he
Yeah,
give
he
the
said.
information?
Yeah, he did not give out the information, but he posted them. He posted them on the television, and when the government found about it, knew about it, it's when they took him and decided to torture him so that he could say where the sources were coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the government of Kenya is at stake, maybe?
Also, yeah, I guess it's at stake because the Kenyan government also needs to say how and how the information went to that journalist.
True.
Yeah.
Now, sheep with imported maize docks in Mombasa before Gazette notice. A ship carrying 10,000 tons of imported maize will be docking at the port of Mombasa today, coming just days after the state said it will open the duty-free window for the produce. The consignment is getting to the country even before an official gazette notice is released to legally allow imports. Manifest from the Kenya Ports Authority (KPA) shows that the consignment is on board an African marine vessel. Trade Cabinet CS Moses Kuria, who made the announcement last week yesterday, said the gazette notice will be out this week.
Mr. Kuria said traders will be allowed to import genetically modified maize and conventional grain. KPA said the maize docking today is white but could not give the details of where it's coming from, who is importing and whether it is genetically modified or not. We will check for you once the manifest is confirmed through customs tomorrow, said KPA Corporate Communications Office. The previous duty-free import window that had been opened in June closed on November 1st. However, millers and traders were unable to ship in the produce on the back of extinct high international prices.
The government has said it will allow the importation of 10 million bags in the next 6 months to address the current shortage of the product, which has kept the price of flour at an all-time high. Mr. Kuria yesterday said the imports will be shipped in by the private sector. The gazette notice that will release will open up the market to millers and anyone to import maize duty-free for 6 months. The government will not import any maize, said Mr. Kuria yesterday. The calls for importation have not gone down well with members of parliament from the North Rift who have argued that the timing is wrong.
The MPs have asked the government to drop the plans as farmers are currently harvesting the main crop for this season. Millers have welcomed the imports, saying they will play a key role in addressing the current high prices in the market. They have urged that they are getting little supplies from farmers despite the ongoing harvesting in Trans Nzoia and Uasin Gishu counties, regions regarded as the country's bread baskets. Well, it's another story whereby it's all about maize in Kenya at the moment. Yesterday we talked about the situation whereby the senator, a senator from the north, from the Uasin Gishu area, said that the Kenyan government has to deal with the people at the currently they should not think about importing maize from other places, because at the moment it's we are going to see a bumper harvest, approximately 100 million bags that are going to be here in Kenya. Now this is another story whereby they don't know where the imported maize is coming from, because they are just seeing maize that is not from Kenya, and now we're expecting a bumper harvest. What do you think about this situation whereby the people are talking that they want to harvest their own maize, but all of a sudden the government is importing from different countries?
Like I said yesterday, it is not really a good idea that the government is, planning or is, like looking up to, importing maize from other countries. Because I said this is a country that is fertile, this is a country that is good in production. So if we focus on planting our own maize, then we don't really need any importation from other countries. We need to plant our own so that we can export for the sake of foreign exchange.
Well, keep on following us on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at Romy TV Africa. Hit that notification bell for more news updates and newspaper review. And on another story, Governor Anne Waiguru fights for 200 million shilling posh Kitusuru house. Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru risks losing her 200 million shilling Kitusuru home in Nairobi as the transaction of the purchase of the property has run into fresh legal complication.
Sorry?
She bought the house situated at Waridi Gardens from Kihingo Village Limited in September 2015 at a price of 80.6 million shillings and paid 40.6 million shillings, leaving the balance of 40 million shillings. At the time she purchased the house, it had been allocated to lawyer Chris Kabiro, who is now claiming ownership and wants the governor to to be kept out of his property.
In documents filed in court by lawyer Titus Koseo from Mr. Kabiro at the time Mrs. Waiguru purchased the house on September 25, 2015, there was a court order barring Kihingo from selling, alienating, transferring, charging or tampering with the property. The order was issued by Justice Eric Ogola on December 5, 2012, following a suit Mr. Kabiro lodged against Kihingo. The order was confirmed on December 5, 2013. Now, according to Mr. Kabiro, the house was not available for sale or an alienation to Mrs. Waiguru, and he wants the court to dismiss a case she filed seeking to compel Kihingo to complete the sale transaction.
Well, same stories again. The Kenyan government officials are fighting for their houses. Yeah. They have so many houses. I don't think that's the only house she has.
Yeah.
But they should focus on what people are talking about right now, because when you see that people are struggling out there at the moment to have things to be done, but for them, they're just looking for they want to focus on themselves first, and that's not the correct thing to do as a leader, because when you are selected you are chosen as a leader, you need to focus to the people who you are leading. The governor of Kirinyaga is also the chair lady for the governor's council. Now we have a situation whereby it said even the property she owns is not hers, it's someone else. Now this brings another attention to the government and government officials and to the people at large. They want to see how is she going to deal with this matter, how is she going to take care of it, is she going to keep on thinking about the property, or is she going to focus on another thing? Because you can't tell me that she's going to focus on that property and yet she has another property, because these government officials, I know they have so many properties. What do you think about this situation whereby she's in a scenario where she owns a property that does not belong to her?
Okay, we are not told that it doesn't belong to her, but again they have an argument with another person now in seeking the transaction sale of the property, and this is a sideway property because already she has where she lives, and a property worth 200 million shillings, that is a lot of money. So I wonder where these people get this really a lot of money, and they're mostly focused on themselves. Last time we saw Mr. Gashagwa fighting over land, and we saw that he had an argument between a land that is around JKA, a property, and now because he's the vice president, all those years the case had not been solved. But now because he's the vice president, we saw that the land officially, he was claimed the rightful owner. So these people are just focused on themselves instead of focusing on the things that benefit the people of Kenya.
The reason why I'm saying that the property does not belong to her is because Mr. Kibiro said, he said, don't be in my property, stay away from my property. So I guess the reason why I'm saying that is because the property does not belong to her, because it said Mr. Kibiro bought the property before her in 2015.
So some other stories: exports gain as UK pound rallies against the shilling. A unit of sterling pound has rebounded to a 5.5-month high against the shilling, pretending better export earnings for fresh produce to the United Kingdom, but inflating the cost of imports from the European country. The shilling on Monday traded at 145.48 units against the pound, the highest since June 13 when it was 146.44. The gain on the pound follows a rise in interest rates by 75 basis points from 2.25% to 3% on November 3rd on the back of high inflation in the UK, the largest rate hike since 1989, increasing the cost of borrowing to the highest level since late 2008. Sorry.
The depreciation of the shilling against the pound set the country up for the increased cost of imports. Kenya sells agricultural produce such as cut flowers, vegetables, fruits, coffee, and tea to the UK, and in turn buys vehicles, machineries, and alcoholic beverages like spirits, pharmaceuticals, and electronics from the European country. The gain in the pound is expected to increase exports earning, however, could shrink the trade surplus with a rise in import bills. Exports to the UK dropped by 10.8% to 23.8 billion shillings in 6 months to June, despite the trade between the two countries in favor of Kenya, as imports increased by 2.7% to 17.3 billion shillings over the period.
The pound had on September 29 hit a low of 128.15 shillings, 128.15 amid a proposal by the UK government to scrap among the income tax for the wealthy, which was later reversed, leading to a gain by the foreign currency. A stronger shilling against the pound and the euro means reduced earnings for horticultural exports, which largely depend on the UK and EU markets. The weakening of the shilling against the pound comes on the backdrop of the depreciation of the local currency to a record low against the dollar. The shilling yesterday traded at 122.08, which continues to feel pressure from higher demand for the US currency by importers, especially petroleum products and industrial supplies, and interest rate hikes.
Into these stories, it says exports gain as UK pound rallies against the shilling.
Yeah.
I think it has always been that the pound has been more compared to the Kenyan shillings, as always.
Yeah.
And now we see that the exports are becoming more expensive. They are increasing at the moment.
Yeah.
And this brings a lot of attention to the economy of Kenya as well. And we can see that the government also works extra hard to deal with this economic situation. What do you think about this?
I think the horticultural crops are the leading dependence on the countries like UK and EU. That is, the European countries, they mostly depend on the horticultural crops for export because they grow, these flowers. So I think it's really a drop for them. So we don't know how we can do about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Governor Kawira Mwangaza faces out the bid 90 days after taking office. The Meru County Assembly is set to consider a motion of impeachment against Governor Kawira Mwangaza today morning. Abogeta West MCA Dennis Kiogora, who is also the minority chief whip, cites the government for gross violation of the Constitution, gross violation of various national and county laws, abuse of office, and gross misconduct. The impeachment motion is backed by signatures of 67 out of 69 MCS.
The governor has engaged in multiple discreditable acts. The discreditable acts have exposed the office of the governor, the assembly and its leadership, and the people of Meru County to national shame, embarrassment, ridicule, and disrepute. Mr. Kiogora states, besides violating the Constitution, Governor Mwangaza is accused of flouting 10 national and county laws, including Public Officers Ethics Acts, County Government Act, Meru Youth Service Act, Public Appointments Act, and Fair Administrative Actions Act.
Others are the Employment Act, Leadership and Integrity Act, County Assemblies Powers and Privileges Act, Public Finance Management Act, and Meru County Retention and Enhancement Fund Act. Mr. Kiogora urges that the action of the governor have created a toxic environment in which the governor cannot be relied upon to work harmoniously with the staff and elected leaders. The governor's continued stay in office under the prevailing toxic environment will inevitably undermine effective and efficient service delivery and thus hurts the interest of the people, the MCA adds.
So we have seen like the journey of Governor Kawira Mwangaza and the dark days of the light of the position she has started immediately when she started the office work. So we have seen her like violate all those acts that we have seen. We have seen her even like failing to listen to the MCAs, failing to follow even the protocols of the public offices. You know, like she has power over, like she feels she's in a position of just doing things her way. We saw her even employing the husband, I don't know of what, in the office. And then claiming that the husband is just doing it voluntarily. Like, who can do that? And then we also saw her employing her two sisters to be bodyguards. So I think this is, she's also supposed to be accused of nepotism, you know, favoring the family members. So I think the motion to impeach her should continue and go ahead and be, I think she should be impeached.
Yeah, you can see that since she got into the office, she hasn't been so peaceful with the MCAs at all. And now she's struggling to lead even the Meru County government, approximately in a way that we see that every now and then stories come up against her, and her days are becoming even darker. And now the MCAs, I don't think they are going to allow her to stay for long. I don't think even she's going to finish her term in the office at the moment, because the stories that come up are not suitable for the government. Yeah.
So that was it for newspaper review. Thank you for being with us. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. I've been your host, Reginah Samuel.
And I've been your host, Emmanuel. Keep on following us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok here at Romy TV Africa. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Romy TV Africa, and hit that notification bell. Stay safe. God bless. See you next time.